It's so easy to blame everybody else for your suffering, right? Somehow it's everybody else's fault that you are suffering, except your own. You played no part in your own suffering. Now, how does that work out? Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Tired of Thinking podcast, where we think less and talk more about this crazy life. And I'm here with another thought dump. So you already saw the intro. We're here to call your ass out. I'm doing this to empower. I'm not doing this to shame. I'm not doing this to invalidate. I'm not doing this with any ill intent. This is all to empower you and help you look at yourself more objectively, so you can suffer less in this life. Because why are we here? We're here to think less, do more, and suffer less. Suffer less, okay? Like I was saying in the intro, how is it it's everybody else's fault for our suffering, but never our fault? You know, it comes to a point in our life that we have to be so for real with ourselves and recognize and identify what role we have played in our own suffering. Because we have definitely played a role in our own suffering. You know, we continue to repeat the same lessons, the same cycles, the same problems, the same. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So that's why I'm here to ask you, why is it that it's everybody else's fault that we are suffering except our own fault? Maybe we're not the sole reason, but we have played a role in our own suffering. We have. And we need to acknowledge that role, identify the role that we have played in our own suffering, and learn from it. That's all we got to do. There's no point in lamenting. There's no point in, woe is me. Break up with woe. Break up with woe. If you're here from my TikTok, you know I've said that so many times before. Break up with woe. Being woe is me is not doing you is not going to serve you. Okay? I'm saying that because I don't want you to start bringing awareness to the roles that you have played in your own suffering, and then start beating yourself up, start shaming yourself. No, that's not the point. That's not why I want you to be aware of the role you played in your own suffering. I'm saying this, I'm bringing awareness to this for you because I want you to suffer less, be free, and experience everything that this life has to offer. I don't want you to be stuck in the same cycles, the same lessons over and over and over and over again until you die. That is not the type of life that I want for you, and that is not the type of life that you deserve. You deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve everything this life has to offer for you. And you should assume that this life is going to offer you good things. And you should assume that only good things happen to you. And at the same time, you have to be for real with yourself and be like, yeah, I did play a role in my own suffering. That maybe didn't have to happen. Maybe that didn't have to happen. And that's not, like I said, I'm going to say this again. I don't want you to lament. I don't want you to woe is me. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. I don't want you to now shame yourself and shoulda, woulda, coulda. No, don't should on yourself. Just do better. Learn. All this life is doing for us is reflecting back to us our own thoughts, our own belief system, our own choices, our own actions. So once you have the ability to look at things objectively, to look at this life objectively, to look at your behaviors and your thoughts and your feelings and your mindset objectively, you will become so much more powerful in this life, because there's a lot of people in this life that don't know that they have caused their own suffering in a lot of ways. People don't even know that they have played a role in their own suffering. So they just continue to do the same things over and over and over again. They make no changes to their behaviors. They make no changes to their thoughts. They make no changes to their mindset. They make no changes at all. You cannot expect to get the life that you desire if you make no changes. Like that's just guys, that's just not how life works. That's not how things work. So be honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, yeah, I did that. And maybe I had no business going back to that person. Maybe I had no business doing XYZ. Maybe I had no business not listening to my gut. I had no business not listening to my intuition. And then once you are able to fully recognize and identify what role you have played in your own suffering, you need to use that. Use it as a guide in this life. Use it. Let this life be your teacher. Let this life show you. Let this life guide you. Learn from the past. Learn from past situations. Learn, if you continue, you are experiencing the same problematic people, but they're just in different forms, different shapes and forms. They look different, but they're the same person. Have you not clocked that? You continue to experience the same situation The same situation, except maybe it's in a different city now. Or maybe it's just at a different time. Maybe it looks a little different, but it's the same thing. Like, I be telling my clients, like, you don't want to at least experience different problems? At the very minimum, you don't want to at least experience different problems. You keep experiencing the same things. You don't want to at least experience different ones at the minimum. Okay? Like, my goodness, free yourself, my friends, free yourself. And in order to free yourself, you have to face yourself. That is what this life is about. The journey back to self. Anytime our life starts to derail and things start getting a little shifty, a little shicey, a little like you start to lose your grip on your life, it's because you have lost yourself. So come back to self. Come back to self. That is the only home base you ever will have in this life is self. So return to home base and get to work. Okay? Get to work, my friends. Nobody's coming to save you. And I'm saying that to empower. I'm not saying that to invalidate. Save yourself. Save yourself. If you want someone to save you, like the only person you're waiting on is yourself. Save yourself. Save yourself and be honest with yourself, because we have played a role. I have played a role in my own suffering. I have made choices that I probably should not have made. I have made choices that have led me towards paths that have not brought me goodness, that have brought me negativity and darkness. And I would probably still be on those same paths if I never would have looked inward, if I never would have faced myself and been honest with myself and been like, okay, I am partly to blame. I am partly to blame for my own suffering. It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. We can go back and forth all day about the semantics, about the this and that, and how you played a role and who had more of a role and who had more of a role to play than who, and who cares? Who cares? Like, honestly, it doesn't even freaking matter how much of a role, how big or little your role was to play. At the end of the day, you still played a role in it. And you need to stop doing that. So you don't continue to experience things that you don't want to experience in this life. Like, you've gotten plenty of experiences that you don't want to experience. So you know what you don't want. Let's build on the experiences that you do want. I feel like you owe it to yourself that. You owe it to yourself that. And I feel like that also puts a lot of power back into your hands, because a lot of times in this life, we feel hopeless and helpless, and we feel like we have no power. We don't have any authority to change our lives. But in reality, we do. We have a lot more authority to change our lives than we give ourselves credit for. We just have to be willing to do the work. We want everything to fall into our laps so easily. Everybody wants everything to come so easily. My goodness. Like, guys, like, that's just not how life is. You have to be willing. Like, I'm not saying that it has to be tremendously difficult. I do believe that there is a certain level of ease that you have to embody, a certain level of calmness that you have to embody while you are on this journey. And at the same time, you have to put in the work. You have to have discipline. You have to challenge yourself. You have to put in the work. And of course, at the beginning, it's going to feel like really like work. It's going to feel challenging. It's going to feel more difficult. But that's how anything is in this life that is new to you. Anything in this life that is new to you, it's going to seem like that at first. And then it starts to get better. And it starts to get easier. And then before you know it, things will happen. You'll automatically clock yourself and be like, yeah, I did do that. I'm going to do better next time. I'm going to make sure I do better next time. Like, it's going to become easier to be able to clock yourself. But if you're not used to calling yourself out and facing yourself and clocking yourself and being so for real with yourself, it's going to be a challenge at first. So that's why I'm saying, like, journal about it. Make video diaries, get a therapist, get someone to help you, do it independently. And then also get a third party to help you, a third party that will also be able to call your ass out. So that I just wanted to share that with you, because I think it's important that because it's just like, sometimes we're hyper focused on how third parties have harmed us and how they have harmed us. But we don't talk enough about how we have harmed ourselves, how we have broken our own hearts. Like I've said, and this is to empower. I'm not saying this to invalidate. I'm not saying this to shame. I'm saying this to empower. I want to empower you to give this life your all. I want to empower you to suffer less in this life. I want to empower you to move on, be emotionally free, become your truest self, have an abundance mindset. And this is just one of the many things that you have to do to get there. And you will get there. Awareness is first, though. So be aware of yourself. Study yourself. Study your thoughts. Become your confidant. Become your own best friend. Learn how you move. Learn why you act the way that you do. Not to become hyper fixated on it, because you still want to be a human. You don't want to just be living inside your head, hyper analyzing everything all the time, but you know what I mean. So I'm gonna leave it at that, y'all. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And this podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for all my audio people. Again, I'm your host, Golden Girl, and this is the Tired of Thinking podcast, where we think less and talk more about this crazy life. And I will see y'all very, very soon. Bye.